they really talked about releasing the Epstein file just to get Donald Trump in trouble. But it looks like it backfired, and more Democrats are in trouble than anybody else. Let's take a look at Jesse Watters Primetime talking about the Epstein file and how Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton are defending themselves because they got pictures of them all over the place. It's crazy. In any case, my name is Noel. Welcome to Verbal On Live. Before you go anywhere, give this video a thumbs up. And let's take a look because this is turning out to be like a soap opera. In the way Trump is painting this out, he may be winning. Let's take a look.
Welcome to Jesse Watters Primetime. Tonight,
I never met Jeffrey Epstein, never had any connection or communication with him. I knew Ghislaine Maxwell.
Hillary's Epstein deposition goes off the rails.
Secretary, what was your reaction to the president was in the hot tub? We heard.
And you kind of came out and said you didn't want it to be political. Obviously, you did go to the White House. I'm curious just how do you kind of square those two things?
We're all just proud Americans, and we're happy that we both swept the Olympics.
Hockey's hero pulls a Sydney Sweeney on the media.
Hello, you dirty little boys.
Hola.
Mi español no es el mejor.
No te preocupes, alcalde.
Happy DEI Thursday. Plus,
you were a bad boy last night.
Well, the president has a problem, and I have to expose his problem.
That guy is getting sanctioned.
Fox News alert, the Epstein scandal's rocking Chappaqua. Today, Hillary went under oath and was grilled about the Clintons' relationship with the dead pedophile. She testified behind closed doors, but the deposition was being recorded. At any minute, we could get the tapes. When it wrapped, Hillary came out and said this.
I don't know how many times I had to say I did not know Jeffrey Epstein. I never went to his island. I never went to his homes. I never went to his offices. So it's on the record numerous times.
An hour into her testimony, it went off the rails. A photo of Hillary was leaked from inside. All hell broke loose, and Crooked's team stormed out.
The hearing just went off the record for a moment. Because it seems, as some of you may have seen, that there were some photographs shared on social media, which is against chamber rules that were read at the top of the meeting. So the hearing has been paused briefly while they figure out where the photo came from.
Congresswoman Lauren Boebert texted the pic to the press, and Hillary complained it was against the rules. I don't think she liked how she looked.
We had a bit of a challenge in the beginning because we had agreed upon rules based on the fact it was going to be a closed hearing at their demand. And one of the members violated that rule, which was very upsetting because it suggested that they might violate other of our agreements.
Hillary made a fuss to chew up clock because she didn't want to be there. She testified that she never met Epstein, even though he'd been to the White House 16 times. It was supposed to be a co-presidency, remember? A 2-for-1 deal. Hillary moved their office into the West Wing, but Hillary doesn't remember.
The number of times that she said, I don't know, you'll have to ask my husband, was more than a dozen, and I'll put it like that.
Maybe they didn't meet, maybe they did, but Bill does a lot of things when Hillary's not looking. But this email's interesting. In the Epstein files, someone emailed the sex offender, quote, I know you are close with Hillary, but if she gets the nomination and you vote for her, I'll effing kill you. Did Hillary meet Epstein? Maybe, maybe not. But we do know this.
I knew Ghislaine Maxwell casually as an acquaintance, but whatever they asked me, I did my very best to respond.
Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine, went to Chelsea Clinton's wedding. When she was asked about this, she ran like the wind.
Can I ask, why was Ghislaine Maxwell invited to the daughter Chelsea Clinton's wedding in 2010? she'd already been mentioned in a civil lawsuit by Virginia Chief before that. Jeffrey Epstein already been.
She came as the +1, the guest of someone who was invited.
Thank
you all.
We do know who did spend a lot of time with Epstein, Bill Clinton. There's dozens of photos in the files. Here's Bubba and a girl in a hot tub. Hillary says her hubby was just saving lives.
It wasn't a hot tub on a plane. It was one of the stops they made to look at philanthropic and charitable work that my husband has done, saving literally millions of lives around the world. It turned out that was done long before there was any public awareness and certainly any conviction of any crime by Jeffrey Epstein. So it was a short period of time that was in pursuit of charitable philanthropic work.
Charitable work. That's a new name for it. Here's Bill doing more charity. We all know how much Bill loves to give back. The former president will have his chance to set the record straight tomorrow when he goes under oath, but we all know how he got the name Slick Willie.
Is that correct? Yeah, it depends upon what the meaning of the word is. Yes.
Hillary says she's not worried. Bill would never do something inappropriate.
Are you 100% confident that there isn't anything that the former president knows about Epstein's crimes?
I am, and I think the chronology of the connection that he had with Epstein ended several years before anything about Epstein's criminal activities came to light.
If anybody thinks this is some partisan witch hunt, or as the Clintons call it, a fast right-wing conspiracy, you're wrong.
I think one thing that surprised the Clintons, they assumed the Democrats on the committee would vote in a partisan manner and not vote to hold the Clintons in contempt. And what they learned was a majority of the Democrats on the committee either voted to hold the Clintons in contempt or voted present.
The Epstein fallout has Clinton and Obama operatives dropping like flies. Yesterday, Larry Summers had to resign from his position at Harvard. And now it's come out that not only did the Ivy League take $9 million from the perv, they gave him his own office. And Harvard faculty was accepting free flights and business deals from the sex trafficker. Epstein was giving Larry Summers consulting gigs in places like Mongolia and Kazakhstan.
That's
like
crazy.
We've been saying, it's going global. The head of the World Economic Forum, you know, the guys who tell us to eat insects, Borge Brende, suddenly resigned because of the Epstein files. One of the Rothschilds, you know, the European banking dynasty, all over the Epstein files. And the Swiss bankers, all they're saying so far is they're monitoring the situation. J.B. Pritzker's cousin, Thomas, just resigned from the board of Hyatt Hotels. JB's like, I only see my cousin on holidays.
A cousin of yours has been in the news with regards to the Epstein files, Thomas Pritzker. He just recently resigned from the board of the Hyatt company.
Look, I've said from the beginning that anyone that's done something wrong needs to be held accountable. And I really mean anyone. Now, I'm not close to my cousin, but I can tell you that it's very important that people be held to pay the price for whatever it is that they may have done.
There are millions of documents in the Epstein files, and we're just starting to go through them. Everyone's on edge, even Epstein's own brother.
I didn't see him for 7 years before he died, although we were always in communication with phones and emails. So I didn't know what he was up to. A lot of the stuff that's come out is surprising to me. I wasn't aware of a lot of this stuff. And I'm going to say, like, with him, even though he's my brother, that was his problem. And now that he's dead, it's not his problem anymore. So again, unfortunately, I really don't care, to be honest with you. I'm just concerned that my brother, whoever and whatever he was murdered. That's my concern.
But you care about the victims, I presume, of your brother.
These are the questions I don't get into. So have a good day.
The Telegraph also reports that Epstein paid private detectives to remove items from his Florida property ahead of a police raid. They hid it in a secret storage locker, which contained 3 computers, videotapes, sex slave manuals, and illicit photographs. A Palm Beach lockup contained 29 address books, a 3-page list of masseuses, and tons of porn. The Palm Beach police chief said Epstein's home had been cleaned up. and certain computer material was missing, including surveillance equipment.
That's crazy.
We also found out last night that the DOJ had labeled Epstein's suicide as a murder in some documents. There were also questions about the noose.
The forensic pathologist who was hired by Jeffrey Epstein's brother to observe the autopsy said that there was no blood on the noose, even though there's blood on Jeffrey Epstein's neck in the photographs.
This makes me think that that guy is probably still alive, because a maximum security prison for all this craziness to happen, there's no way, man.
Learning from the documents that the guard who cut Jeffrey Epstein down says he's not sure which noose was given to the investigators, and DNA testing was done. It may have been on the wrong ligature. It may have been done on the wrong noose.
Plus, there was something off about the head count in the prison that night. A new video shows a strange orange figure flashing by the corner of a surveillance camera the night before Epstein died.
There's been scrutiny of a particular moment on the cell block surveillance footage where an orange-looking flash could be seen at 10:39 p.m. A report from the Justice Department Inspector General notes the flash, quote, "It is possible someone is carrying inmate linen or bedding up the stairs." And the final report refers to
Too many mistakes, man.
it as, quote, "an unidentified corrections officer." But now, newly released Justice Department documents reveal an initial FBI review of surveillance video on the cell block says the flash could possibly be an inmate. And independent video analysts consulted by CBS News say the movement was more consistent with an inmate.
This is really getting mysterious, and I'm sure Bill Clinton will clear everything up tomorrow. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna is on the Oversight Committee and was in the room with Hillary Clinton today. How did you feel she testified?
Look, I will say that she did not seem happy to be there. You can see that from her going out and making some of the statements that she did. But Jesse, you know, you kind of nailed it. Exactly what you just stated, kind of about mysterious circumstances. Although I cannot specifically state what she said in the deposition regarding what you just played, I would bet once you hear the transcription that comes out tomorrow that it's safe to assume that that might be her perspective as well.
Are we going to see video?
Yes, you'll have full video and audio similar to the Les Wexner deposition. And I will also say that, you know, there's more to come out with, but there's it got kind of heated at some points.
So she was asked a lot about her husband. No one thinks Hillary Clinton was involved in sex trafficking or doing anything with children. I mean, that's clear. But and her husband's obviously, you know, no one's accusing him of anything. But she was asked a lot about her husband's relationship with Epstein. And she said she couldn't remember. You'd have to ask him.
You know, there's something in regards to when someone's put under oath, there's protected communications between spouses. And so there was a lot of that. But what I will also say is what's going to be particularly interesting for the president is that, and President Clinton tomorrow, that is, in his depositions, and is that at a certain point, I think that, you know, this does kind of, was this a honeypot operation? Was this intentional? These are all questions. And I will say specifically, Jesse, when I was asking her questions, I was very focused on the potential of the foreign intelligence ties and also too about whether or not she believes specifically we should open up investigations into some of these co-conspirators that were women. And that seems to be something that the liberal media does not want to touch or talk about. And so I encourage everyone to look into that because there's a lot there. And I will also state that if you are looking at Jeffrey Epstein's people that he interacted with specifically, I definitely think it's safe to say I think the American people agree with me. And I would say, even though Secretary Clinton might not have been able to officially admit it, that she did seem to at least be perceptive to the idea that he was tied to foreign intelligence. And she also had stated that we should follow up on specific ties with him in regards to the 3 countries that were listed by the Epstein attorneys, Russia, Iran, and Israel, in relationship to whether or not it was potentially a foreign intelligence operation. That was interesting.
That is interesting. It does seem to be a honeypot operation, and he does seem very closely tied to Israel, but also looks to be double dipping. He was in between a lot of sectors.
Mm-hmm.
The Ghislaine situation.
Peddling information.
Right. Ghislaine, I mean, I don't know if she was intelligent. She might have been tied up in the whole thing. She was a co-conspirator. She's in prison. But the times that she was at Chelsea's wedding, I mean, the rumors were obvious. I mean, she was involved in Epstein's lifestyle, and we know now that she participated in procuring the women. Hillary didn't, she didn't get that?
Look, I am a candidate. I've been a candidate for office. I'm an elected official. And when you have top tier donors, of which the Epstein Maxwell entire apparatus was, you know the names of your donors and individuals. And I do find it hard to believe that she didn't know of the relationship between the two. Obviously, you had said that, and there is White House logs that Epstein attended the White House many times. There is also 2 reports of Ghislaine Maxwell kind of in and out of the same circles. And so, you know, I think the question is whether or not they were being targeted, but also to remember, you know, when you hear the Clintons specifically say, oh, well, Bill Clinton cut all ties with Jeffrey Epstein before the actual charges were brought forward. Well, remember, President Trump has said the same thing. And yet the way that the DNC, the way that the Democrats are trying to use this is to smear the president. And I actually brought this up in the press gaggle today, in that we've asked the victims specifically on whether or not President Trump had hurt them. And he was exonerated. He released the files, and they don't want to report that. What they want to try to do is take this and have us say on record whether or not we will subpoena the president to come testify, in which I respond, the president is not considered a person of interest in this investigation. He's been nothing but cooperative, at least with us and members of the task force. And I think that his record will reflect that he has released all files. It was also interesting to note that we inquired on how many files did President Biden release. The answer is 0.
You're right. Well, keep up the heat. Everyone's looking forward to seeing what Bill has to say tomorrow. Thank you, Anna Paulina.
This is backfiring on the Democrats. You know, they had all these files when Biden was in office. Now that Trump came in, it's releasing all of them, and it's really hurting all the Democrats. It's crazy.
Luna. Barry Levine's the author of The Spider, Inside the Tangled Web of Jeffrey Epstein. Anything you heard just there you want to react to?
Yeah, I mean, there were some really interesting points. We do know that there were 4 women who were called potential possible co-conspirators. They received immunity back at the time of the 2008 non-prosecution agreement in Florida. Ghislaine Maxwell was separate from that. They, of course, later, charged her and convicted her. And we also know that there's women enablers, modeling people across the world who allegedly provided minors to Jeffrey Epstein. So there are a lot of women involved in this case. And these are, of course, separate from the victims and the survivors. The other point I was going to make was I was wondering if Hillary would invoke spousal privilege in terms of trying to get out of some answers related to Bill. I think she probably set him up nicely for tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of heat on Bill, and there's so much that they can pick apart in terms of that period of time from 2002 to 2003, when he traveled with Jeffrey Epstein to 4 different countries. Twice to Africa, also to Europe and Asia. They spent a lot of time together. There was 16 to 27 flight legs that Bill Clinton was on these flights. So they had a lot of time to talk about a lot of things.
So tomorrow, Bill has to testify. He's pretty slippery when he does depositions. Do you think he's vulnerable?
Oh, I do. I mean, I reported in my book from the most vocal accuser of Virginia Giuffre that she said she met Bill Clinton more than once. She also said that Jeffrey Epstein told her, Bill owes me a lot of favors. And what's also interesting is we know that in 2002, Bill was at Jeffrey Epstein's New York home. He said he was there with Secret Service. However, Virginia has said in depositions and in interviews that she believes that Bill Clinton saw photographs in Jeffrey Epstein's home. He had a lot of photographs of minors, some of them nude pictures. So unless these pictures were being thrown in drawers and so forth in advance of his visit, you have to wonder exactly what he saw and what he was wondering he was getting himself into on these the travel that he did.
This was before the conviction. This was in the Upper East Side apartment.
Yes.
And also on the Lolita Express.
Yes.
Is there any evidence that he socialized with Epstein after the conviction? Is there any evidence that he went to the island?
There's no evidence he went to the island. Virginia has said in her own book, which reiterated the material that I had in my book and in depositions and interviews, that she was at a particular dinner where she remembers sitting there with Bill Clinton. And she said there were also two brunette women. She didn't specify their ages. But he was certainly surrounded potentially by victims. And of course, they're going to question him tomorrow on those photos. The DOJ has said that they only redacted images of victims and minors. So you wonder about the two photos that have two redactions of individuals in terms of the hot tub and the photo of him in the pool with Ghislaine Maxwell. Were they victims? Were they minors? We don't know at this point. He will certainly be asked about that.
And there does seem to be intense interest in the counterintelligence operation. I'm glad that the Oversight Committee's taken an interest in that. Barry, good to see you. The book Spider. We'll probably have it on tomorrow to react to Bill's testimony. New doorbell video in the Nancy Guthrie case.
So that's crazy. I mean, all this stuff they don't play on the mainstream news. They like to keep it hush because that's the Democratic wing. But you got to really look at everything. If you're still watching, make sure to give this video a like. All right? Let's finish up here with the Nancy Grace problem.
And Johnny goes to Washington. American hero, Toothless Jack Hughes, was back on the ice in New Jersey when the Devils squared off against the Buffalo Sabres. And he got a standing O. But the media is still asking, why did you laugh at that joke?
I know a lot of the discussion has been about the Trump's call specifically in the aftermath. I know Jeremy Swayman today said that he believes the team should have reacted differently. Just curious if you agree with that.
Like, you're in the moment, the president calls, like we're blaring the music, like then they pause the music and then the president calls. So I don't think, like, obviously it is what it is now, but like, we have so much respect for the women's team. They have so much respect for us, and we're all just proud Americans. And, you know, we're happy that we both swept the Olympics.
Sydney Sweeney would be proud. They tried the same move with the women. Quote, U.S. women's hockey team declines Trump's invitation to the State of the Union. But one of the players confirmed they wanted to go, but just couldn't figure out the logistics. Remember, the women were already home and scattered all across the country. America isn't angry. We're proud.
USA! USA! USA!
I'm from Buffalo. Tage Thompson, Jack Hughes, be able to root them on, go in the crowd, shout USA a few times. Like, what could be better?
USA! USA! USA!
What do you think this moment, this gold medal, means for our country?
Again, we're number one. That's all that matters. We're number one. I'm shaking right now. I don't know if you can see that.
It wasn't just a hockey team that put Democrats in the penalty box. The moment Trump asked the chamber to stand up if you support citizens over illegals, it's what everyone's talking about.
Boom.
The man has been playing y'all like a fiddle for 11 years now, and you still can't beat him. Damn. You keep falling right into his hands, and it's a damn shame.
The moment was gold, and we know how much Trump loves gold. He already turned it into an ad.
If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens. These people are crazy.
The ad that cooked Democrats the last time was Kamala's for they, them, and Trump's for you. Same premise. But this time, you can actually watch the Democrats not choose you. The ad's a killer, and you're going to see it on Fox more than Balance in Nature. This is what got Trump in the White House, and not her.
Hey, everybody. Well, I'm on the bus. Just finished up an event in Cleveland. Really great, and just the people of Ohio, you know, they're ready for the midterms,
She's
so
sad.
let's support them. And now on the bus for 5.5 hours heading to Indianapolis. So I'll see you there.
You got
Kamala's on a bus because she can't afford a plane. Donors won't give her any more money. They're giving it to this guy.
Vance, for whatever reason, scares me
Why?
almost more than Trump. I don't know. I just, I mean, talk about a guy who put a mask on and his face grew into it. JD is a unique fraud and phony, and he's a little more dangerous.
Rules for men: never call another man scary. And dangerous doesn't work. They called Trump dangerous, and he won in a landslide. It just makes you look weak. Mondani, he's actually flipping the script. He went back to the White House today. He's working with Trump to rebuild New York and lower the rent. He also got the president to release a Columbia student who just got iced.
She's cute.
He probably just showed him the picture.
Yeah, she's worth it.
Big Gretch gets it too. She went from resist to muchas gracias.
A new fighter mission is coming to Selfridge Air National Guard Base in Macomb County. Probably not on the bingo card, but I want to thank President Trump for his work on this. Big Gretch out.
Look at that. Whitmer thanked Trump, and both sides of the aisle stood up and clapped. Big Jess.
There you go.
Out.
That was basic.
Caroline Sunshine's a Republican strategist. Wow, this ad, it's already cut, hot off the presses, Caroline. What kind of damage do you think that's going to do?
Why are they so into sitting is my question, Jesse. Like, have you noticed that about Democrats? Like, they're very into sitting. They're always like taking a knee for BLM or getting their knee pads out, like Gavin Newsom to beg President Trump for money, or doing like sit-ins with weird sing-alongs. And then now, as everyone, you know, saw that night and is going to see in that ad, they wouldn't stand for the American people. And, you know, you had Chief Warrant Officer 5, Eric Slover. I mean, talk about a guy who's out of central casting.
Yeah.
Like, did you see the jawline on that guy, Jesse? Did you, like, he mocked, like, that he didn't need the helicopter. The jawline could have cut through Maduro's compound. But he was there in a walker because he took multiple bullets to his hips and legs, and he stood for the American people. But Democrats in that room wouldn't. And it's not because they couldn't, it's because they wouldn't. And it's really because standing, when President Trump gave them that invitation and he said, just stand with me. I invite you to stand with me if the American people are your priority over illegal immigrants. They couldn't do it because standing would be an admission of complicity. Standing would admit that their policies are the reason why Irina Zarutska was in that room without a daughter, why little 5-year-old Delilah is in there not being able to walk with cerebral palsy. And I can't imagine, honestly, being Irina's mom and being Delilah's dad and being in that chamber and seeing the suffering that I had gone through and seeing that half my government that is elected to represent me and protect me and defend me is completely indifferent to my suffering, that they won't stand for me. They won't acknowledge my pain. And I think the worst thing about Trump derangement syndrome is that it really robs Democrats of their humanity. It just makes them so callous and cruel. And I walked away from President Trump's address going, wow, we can never, ever let Democrats in that room take control of our country again. We can never let people that are that cruel and that callous and that indifferent and that crazy towards our suffering. Our suffering as the American people. You can never let people like that get power again. It's too dangerous. We can't do that.
Yeah, we're also hearing from some of our sources that Democrat Hank Johnson even sits when he pees. And that we haven't confirmed it, nor do we want to, but that's what we're hearing. That's what we're hearing on Capitol Hill. Caroline, the hockey. We are now, what is this, day 5 of the media attacking the hockey team. What is going on here?
Oh, I love the hockey team. And here's the thing, right? Like, you look at those hockey guys, I don't know if all of them voted for President Trump. I have no idea. They're really good-looking guys, so I'm going to guess that they did. Smart, good-looking guys usually do. But they're there to represent their country, and Democrats have moved away from that. They used to be a party that at least had some patriotism, some semblance of love for country. But I really think their Trump derangement syndrome, it blinds them. It just blinds them from loving anything. They're almost not capable of love anymore, unless it's just loving illegal immigrants or something. But you mentioned earlier, Zohran Mamdani, of all people, he might be a socialist, but he's one of the only Democrats that I think doesn't have Trump derangement syndrome. And you mentioned earlier, like, he goes to the Oval Office to work with the president. And that's not just smart, policy. It's good for his constituents, but that's also really smart politics. And I think Democrats should take a page out of Mamdani's. I can't believe I'm saying that on your show.
I can't believe it either. Who would think that after this election, we've been saying, Mamdani, he's doing the right thing. I mean, this is crazy. I guess.
Comment down below. How much TDS do you have? Or do you know that people have? It's really crazy for the Dems right now.
Yes, we're wrong sometimes. Caroline, can we all say, maybe I was wrong once? I can admit that. You could admit that, right?
Yeah, but Jesse, you know what? I think more than often, we're right.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean?
That I agree with. Caroline, great to see you as always. Thank you. Johnny at the Capitol. Right back.
So TDS is bringing the Democratic Party down, and they're old enough, they're smart enough, they see it, but why can't they stop themselves and just realize that people are watching? Everybody can see, everybody's looking. So now Trump is going to use these commercials, pointing out the fact that the Dems are for them and Trump is for you. And the Republican Party is to help the citizens, while the Dems are for the illegals. Crazy. The man is a genius.
This week we went down to D.C. for the State of the Union, and we left Johnny there to back clean up.
How you doing?
Doing fine.
Nice to see you, Johnny from Fox.
Johnny, your hands are cold. You need to get
I'm
some gloves.
freezing. How was that speech last night?
It was long. It was a lot of theater.
It was a long speech.
It was long. Did you enjoy it?
No.
You weren't a big fan of that speech last night.
No.
You didn't stand for much.
It was a good one.
No. We're also not there to perform.
It was a great speech, full
It is a
of enthusiasm
performance.
for the country.
The economy is improving. Our standing in the world is improving. Our border is secure.
The president asked Democrats to stand up if they prioritize American citizens over illegal aliens. Did you stand?
I didn't stand. It was a
I love
gotcha
illegals.
question.
Illegals I love.
No, it didn't get me.
No Democrat did. Because of the way he was framing it, the gimmick was a little cheap.
You didn't want to show the
No.
American people that you'd stand?
No, it
I
wasn't.
show the American people where I stand every day.
What is your first responsibility? Protecting American citizens or illegal aliens?
I'm just getting ready for hearing. Thank you.
What is your first priority? Illegal immigrants or American citizens?
No comments. I love
You don't want to
illegals.
tell the American people that you prioritize them first? Illegal aliens or American citizens?
We're not there to perform.
Yes, you are.
For this guy. It was a speech filled of a bunch of grievances.
Big moment last night. You
It's
ripped
on
Al
TV.
Green's sign. What happened?
I said, Al, you got to be better than this. What the hell are you bringing this sign on here? I mean, Al, you got kicked out of here last year. Now you're going to try to do a twofer.
Al's a really bad boy.
Well, I will just say this. He's in a contested primary, so he's probably doing everything he can to try to get his mug on television.
Congressman,
How are you?
you were a bad boy last night.
Well, I was bad in the sense that I got into good trouble, the kind of trouble that John Lewis has called to our attention. The president has gone too far.
Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, they were screaming, they were heckling the president. Was that the right thing to do?
Well, again, I just don't think we should ever do that. We should respect the office, regardless who's in that office.
The president says the Democrats are crazy.
They are. They're back crazy.
They have a massive, out of control case of Trump derangement syndrome.
We'll find a cure.
You're right.
The president has a problem, and I have to expose his problem. So that's what last night was all about.
You're going to get censured again.
Well,
John Lewis and I were incarcerated together for protesting. And one of the things that he reminded me of was that you got to be prepared to suffer the consequences. It was my colleagues that reached over to rip things out of my hand and said things to me. So I did not create the disturbance, they did. So if they're going to censure all of us, then I guess maybe.
People were not standing for lowering Social Security, no tax on tips.
That was again a game.
So this was all a game.
It was a gotcha game.
Since you were kicked out, you did miss an important part. The president said, please stand if you support United States citizens over illegal aliens. Would you have stood?
If I had been in the chamber, I would have made a decision at that time.
What's your priority, United States citizens or illegal aliens?
My priority is the American Constitution, which protects you, aliens, and people in this country.
So both.
My priority is the Constitution.
Not United States
priority
citizens.
is the Constitution.
You looked great in that suit last night.
Well, thank you. Geez, you know, I am a fashion plate.
Will you attend the third State of the Union?
I'm going to attend as long as I believe I should. And when I think I shouldn't, I won't.
Do you know who I am? No. Here's Johnny.
We'll be doing this on a weekly basis. DEI is something we must have.
Everything, when there's a camera, it is performative. You're supposed to show the people that are watching how much you're fighting for them, right? What are you doing for the citizens? How are you putting in work to help out the citizens, right? Because you're looking for votes, popularity contest. The obvious, and they messed up. They just sat there.
Happy DEI Thursday, Primetime's favorite day of the week. In honor of Reverend Al Sharpton, we're bringing you the best stories about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Did you border hop to the Big Apple with the baby? No dinero, no inglés, no problema. The commies are now offering free pre-K in Espanol.
Mi español no es el mejor.
No te preocupes, alcalde. Si su hijo o hija está cumpliendo 3 o 4 años en el 2026, usted puede registrarlos gratis en el programa Kinder 3 o Pre-Kinder de la ciudad de Nueva York.
Welcome to Nueva York. Watch out, news from California's got a new star. His name, Rene Campos, and he's running for Fresno City Council. He doesn't have a headshot yet, but does have a mugshot after getting popped for child porn. That's not stopping him. He says voters want someone outside the box. Let's hope he's wrong. The trans congressman just got shark attacked.
So Congresswoman McBride, so I'm upstairs and I'm in Mike Johnson's office. And
Johnny, I'm going to need you to stop trauma dumping on me. I'm a trans person in Congress. I already have enough trauma to deal with.
This is why Trump says Democrats are crazy. No DEI Thursday is complete without a victory. Trans driver's license just got doged in Kansas. If you switched your gender on your license, it's no longer valid. Better hurry up to the DMV, they, thems.
Yeah.
A new Nancy Guthrie tape. Right back.
Definitely get rid of those licenses. What are we doing here?
Fox News alert. We have new footage in the Nancy Guthrie case. A neighbor's Ring camera captured a dozen cars driving by in the early morning hours of Nancy's kidnapping. Kevin Cork has the details. Kevin.
Evening, Jesse. Previously unseen Ring camera video shows a number of vehicles on a back road near Nancy Guthrie's home the morning of her suspected abduction. And Fox News Digital has been all over this story. They've been on the hunt for minute details. And tonight, Jesse, they've touched base with retired NYPD detective and national security expert Pat Brosnan, who, along with his team, has reviewed this video. And he tells Fox he thinks the vehicle seen at 2:36 a.m. is a Kia Soul based on its slanted roof, window design, and rear quarter glass. He also noted the vertical brake lights, and that's the kind of detail that could really help in the search for Nancy as it stretches now into its 4th week. And tonight, with no suspects or any clue as to where she is, the kind of detail that could really help in the search for Nancy as it stretches now into its 4th week. And tonight, with no suspects or any clue as to where she is, law enforcement is returning the home back to the Guthrie family, though the Pima County Sheriff's...
That is a sad situation. I hope they find the body at this particular point, because It's
hanging out of a
story.
car window screaming, but the sheriff's department says it's probably not connected to the case. Of course, you know, Savannah has upped the reward to $1 million, though in her latest video, she acknowledged her mom may already be in heaven. This as a source.
But that's crazy. Everything that's going on in politics and Savannah Guthrie's mother, it's insane. Hopefully they catch those guys. But let me know what you think. Comment down below. Give it a thumbs up. I think something like the State of the Union address, it is television. All right? It's doing things for the public. We can see. We see everything. And for the Democrats not to stand up and at least perform and pretend like they care, man, that makes Trump look great. Like the man is a genius. Not only that, but we got the midterms coming up. So he just gave the Republicans a layup. Like here, for your commercials. We're going to see that on commercials and pointing out the fact that the Dems are for illegal immigrants, not for the citizens, not for the taxpayers, not for you and me. But people with TDS just refuse to admit it, that we need politicians working for the people. But let me know what you guys think. My name is Noel, here at Verbal on Live, trying to do my best to communicate and give you guys the news, because mainstream media is not going to do it. We all just got to speak our opinions, let you guys know what we think. And Trump is just breaking records out there. The man just spoke for, I don't know what was the timing on that, for over an hour. He could do things like that. That's like 80-year-old man, and he could do all of that. He was truly sent by God, in my opinion. But what am I saying? Again, I'm trying to set this up over here. I'm trying to do my best, battling a mess, bring you guys the greatest show ever. With that said, I'll be back later on today. Let me go get my day started. With that said, see you in the next video. Peace.